All right, Shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Rechach Quadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson. Lord's will, this is edifying to the Lord's elect. It says Biloxi PD arrests Texas woman in connection to razor blades found in bakery items at Walmart store. Let's look into this.
Well, first, now, new details about a disturbing crime spree in Biloxi that caused a lot of concern on the Gulf Coast.
Now listen to this. Biloxi police say Camille Benson put almost a dozen razor blades inside loaves of bread at two Walmarts. Benson is now facing attempted mayhem charges. Our Natalie Williamson is live in Biloxi tonight with the late details.
Natalie, investigators got their break in this case when they released some surveillance pictures.
Yeah, that's right, Lenise and Cameron. Shortly after the photos were released, police got tips about who the woman was and where she was. And just hours ago, they tracked her down. Tonight, these terrifying images sending shockwaves across the Gulf Coast. Razor blades in loaves of bread. Investigators say 33-year-old Camille Benson placed multiple razors inside bread at two Walmarts. The Walmart Supercenter on CT Switzer and the neighborhood Walmart on Pass Road. Lieutenant Candace Young with Biloxi Police say this unusual crime spree started earlier this month on December 5th when a customer found a razor blade in a banana nut muffin.
Store associates, combed through their merchandise. They couldn't find any other compromised items. Thought, hey, this is just an isolated event.
However, it wasn't. 2 days later, a customer at the neighborhood Walmart found a razor in a loaf of bread. Young says police were not called until more than a week later, after someone else at the Supercenter found razor blades in a loaf of brioche bread.
They did another sweep of their merchandise on display for sale and found multiple loaves of bread that were compromised with razor blades. They also, at that time, found a muffin that had a fish hook in it. Somebody had poked those items through the plastic packaging.
Biloxi police releasing these surveillance photos of Benson early Tuesday, and just hours after they were released, investigators say someone spotted Benson here on Division Street, leading to her arrest. One resident in Biloxi who didn't want to go on camera is wondering what everyone else is. Why would someone do this?
The fact that you even thought about doing that is just insane to me.
That bitch is a demon. That's why she did that.
We received a statement from Walmart this afternoon. It reads in part, quote, "The health and safety of our customers is always a top priority. We have removed and thoroughly inspected all potentially affected products at impacted stores in Biloxi. We appreciate law enforcement for their swift action and will continue cooperating with them as they investigate."
But Esau, you put heavy metals in your food anyways, so ain't no fucking difference. You should lock your ass up. What's this?
We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen.
Yeah,
I've secured
right.
a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history. 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Your drug costs will be plummeting downward. They'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. You, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. In the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. Soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. We're poor.
Okay, what about the Ukraine war that you're supposed to end in 24 hours? As a matter of fact,
Remember when Jules Santana...
Zelensky,
we're poised for an
what does Zelensky say? Let me see, where is Zelensky? Where'd I put you? Zelensky. It says Russia is preparing to make next year a year of war, Zelensky says. He speaks. He says, today we again heard signals from Moscow that they are preparing to make next year a year of war, and these signals are not only for us, it is crucial that our partners see them.
Війни. Це сигнали не тільки для нас. Важливо, щоб партнери це бачили. І важливо, щоб вони не тільки бачили,
and not only
а й реагували.
see them, but also respond, especially partners in the United States who often say, who often say that Russia wants to end the war. Yet the rhetoric and signals coming from Russia are the exact opposite, taking the form of official orders to their army. Let me shut him up, because I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Come on. This Russian mindset must be recognized and acted upon, and when they are in this very mindset, they will also undermine diplomacy, seeking through various diplomatic language and pressure over specific points and documents to merely mask their desire to destroy Ukraine and Ukrainians and the desire to legitimize Russia's theft of our land. And then come other countries in Europe, which someone in Russia might one day label their so-called historical lands. Damn, whoever translated this sucks. Well, I guess what he was trying to say is that Russia is going to continue to go to war, and he's going to go to, and it's going to go past Ukraine and into Europe. Okay. What else did I want to look up? Saw that. It says Putin calls European leaders little pigs in furious rebuke of Kiev's allies.
As the war between Russia and Ukraine drags through another decisive winter, the language surrounding diplomacy has grown sharper, more personal, and increasingly volatile. At a moment when international mediators are attempting to keep fragile peace discussions alive, Russian President Vladimir Putin has delivered one of his most aggressive verbal attacks yet on Europe, pairing coarse rhetoric with renewed insistence that Moscow will achieve its territorial objectives regardless of Western pressure. Speaking amid ongoing US-brokered peace efforts, Putin lashed out at European leaders who have aligned themselves with Kiev, portraying them not as independent actors but as opportunists riding Washington's coattails. Europe's little pigs immediately joined in the work of the previous American administration, hoping to profit from the collapse of our country, he said, using language that stunned even seasoned observers of Kremlin messaging. The remark was widely interpreted as both a message to Western capitals and a signal to domestic audiences that Russia remains defiant, unapologetic.
Throw it as hard as you want. Go on. Watching it zip. Going, right? Nope.
And unmoved by diplomatic criticism. Putin's comments went beyond personal insults. He sought once again to challenge the fundamental narrative of the war itself, dismissing long-standing Western claims that Russia deliberately pursued confrontation with Europe. He said warnings from Western governments amounted to hysteria and insisted claims that Russia wanted war were a lie. The statement echoed years of Kremlin messaging that frames the invasion of Ukraine as a defensive necessity rather than an act of aggression, even as Russian forces continue military operations across large swaths of Ukrainian territory. The timing of Putin's remarks was not incidental. They came as diplomats from the United States and Europe prepared to finalize a new peace proposal intended to test Moscow's willingness to negotiate an end to hostilities. According to officials familiar with the talks, the plan is expected to be handed to the Kremlin within days, with Washington acting as the primary intermediary. The proposal reportedly outlines security arrangements, ceasefire mechanisms, and longer-term guarantees aimed at preventing renewed conflict, though exact details remain closely held. Yet optimism surrounding the initiative is limited, particularly in Kiev. Ukrainian President Volodymyr...
Whatever, man. So he ain't fucking with Europe either, obviously, clearly.
From that...
What's this? We want it back. Trump demands Venezuela return land, oil rights to U.S. Let's see what this is.
All right, well, that was a beautiful event for three great people. And they're now looking down, and their parents and wives and all of the people that were there were, devastated, but great people, great people. So thank you very much for being there. Yeah, she's doing a great job. Just a blockade. Not going to let anybody going through that shouldn't be going through. You remember they took all of our energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back. But they took it. They illegally took it.
What the fuck is... Oh, so now Venezuela robbed the dock. Let me see. What is Donald Trump talking about when he says Venezuela took their energy rights? When Donald Trump says Venezuela took their energy rights, he is referring to the expropriation and nationalization of assets belonging to U.S. oil companies by the Venezuelan government under former President Hugo Chavez and his successor Nicolas Maduro. Nationalization in the 1970s, Venezuela first nationalized its oil industry in the 1970s, which significantly impacted U.S. companies like Exxon and Mobil. Expropriations under Chavez in 2007, the Venezuelan government under Hugo Chavez expanded this nationalization by taking over major oil projects operated by foreign companies, including Exxon Mobil and ConocoPhillips. U.S. companies were forced out of the country or had their stakes seized without adequate compensation, according to international arbitration rulings. So, you know, the fact of the matter is, that's not why you originally went over there. You didn't say none of this, but now you're saying, first it was fentanyl, it was, I forgot the name of the gang that was supposedly, they were sending all their illegals over here, putting a burden on the immigration process or whatever, they were taking over buildings in New York City, and it got to the point where he started sending ships over there, and he started blaming fentanyl. Now it's because they owe us this. So he's just full of shit. He's just full of shit. So all those times where he's talking about, all this job market bull crap, and I mean, how do you trust someone that hasn't already delivered on other things he's promised to you? And I'm just bringing that out because, I mean, when are you people gonna wake up, man? And I'm not talking about you heathen, man. I'm talking about the nation of Israel. Like, come on. Wake the hell up. It's like full of shit. Let me grab this in the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Yes, you can't really trust your enemy Esau because he's like rust. You might clean it up, clean off a piece of steel. That rust is gonna come back because that's what it is, man. So it's supposed to rust. He was clean for a while, but now that rust is starting to expose itself, which is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Yet when you look into it, when you look into the looking glass, you see he's the same person. You wipe that rust away, and ain't nothing changed, man. Esau is just he's clean right now, but that rust is starting to show with the oil tankers, with the different policies he's putting in place, All of these things are showing you that Russ hasn't been altogether wiped away. And who is he doing it to? He's doing it to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Set him not by thee, lest when he overthrow thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. Yeah, so you can't set him by you because he'll overthrow you. Okay, Esau, there can't be a peace where you think, okay, you both can rule at the same time, because some way, somehow, he's going to stab you in the back and try to take your position. Ecclesiasticus 12 verse 13, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? So who will pity somebody who's charming a snake, and then the snake come out and he bites your ass? That's what you get. You shouldn't have been messing with him. Or any such as come nigh wild beast. You come near a wild beast, you're going to get bit. There was a situation where this kid, he went into a zoo in Brazil and he climbed down into the lion's den, and then the lioness ripped him to pieces. Whose fault is that? They had all these protocols in place to prevent anyone from going into that position. He found a way to navigate that and get his ass killed. And they didn't even put the lioness to death. They just, it is what it is. It was your fault. So no one's going to pity you after men have made their bodies a living sacrifice, went on the highways and hedges like the Lord said, taught the word, made videos, been mocked, did everything they could do to wake up you Israelites out there, and you didn't want to take heed to the word. So when you're stuck with getting the MOTB or being destroyed, no one's going to pity you. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? You want to get defiled with Esau in his sins, no one's going to pity you. We told you what the MOTB is. If you want to believe it's sin, if you want to believe it's like wearing phylacteries on your right hand or on your forehead, and it's just, you know, it's what you do with your hand or what you think with your mind, then you deserve to be destroyed. For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. Meaning he'll abide with you while things are looking good, but when you begin to fall, that's when he's gonna help you. He's gonna help to overthrow you, because the whole time in the back of his mind, that was his plan from the beginning. He's like that snake in the garden. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips. He's speaking sweetly today. He's telling us, he's promising us or the world, he's gonna do A, B, and C. But if you lack understanding, you'll believe him. But in his heart, he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. That's what he's going to do. He's going to put you into the pit. Pit ultimately is you taking this MOTB, he's building the infrastructure right around you, and then he's going to force you to take it. Meanwhile, he's putting everything in place so when he decides to actually bring it forth, it's gonna be smooth sailing. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. So he's not satisfied with blood. He wants your soul. Okay? And he'll do anything to get it. You know? Him weeping with his eyes, don't be fooled by that. Him humbling himself, don't be fooled by that. He's an Edomite. This is what his purpose is. This is why the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai is that important, because it's going to guide us to know, okay, these precepts should be popping up in our minds when we dealing with the devil. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. So if any adversity that you're dealing with, especially economically, your job, all of this, he's the reason that's happening. He has any wars you hear about in the world, he has his hand in all of that. Okay? He's not here to play Superman in the Caribbean. He's there to rob, steal, kill, destroy. That's all he's here to do. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. He's not trying to help nobody. Okay? He got one objective: to take your oil, to take your land. He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. He'll do whatever he needs to do to get you, man. I mean, in fact, let's look this up real quick. Because it sounds like he'll do that after he overthrows you. Ecclesiastes 12:18 describes the deceptive nature of an enemy who, while pretending to be helpful or friendly, shedding tears, whispering, changing countenance, is actually plotting harm, warning readers not to trust them even if they act humbly, as their wickedness is like rust that eventually destroys. So get your mind right when it comes to this devil, man. Get your mind right. That's what he's here to do. You going into 2020 with your mind on Santa Claus, you're a fool. You're a dumbass if that's what you think. See what else he says.
Oh, Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show. Yeah, I do. Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back.
Land and oil. Okay. He wants it back, he said.
They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back. Well, I think the message this evening is we inherited a mess, and we've done a great job, and we continue to. And our country is going to be stronger than ever before very soon. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, he's done. He said what he had to say, and he's keeping it moving. Let me grab this in the book of Micah, chapter 2. In verse number 1, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. So he already had a plan to get to this point. It was always in his plan before he was even elected, maybe even in his previous terms, that he was going to go over here and do just the things that he's doing today. And they covet fields. Fields is land, and they take them by violence. Violence means war in houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So they'll take over your land and then act like they're you. That's what Esau does. He'll be everybody except for Esau. He don't want you. He don't want to be that. He'll call somebody else an Edomite, though, even though he fits it to a T. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go heartily, for this time is evil. So you can't remove your neck from the judgments of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai for the evil that you do. In that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with a doleful lamentation and say, we be utterly spoiled, and he have changed the portion of my people. How have he removed it from me? Turning away, he have divided our fields. Let me look this up. Micah 2 and 4 refers to a verse in the biblical book of Micah which speaks of a lamentation against Israel's oppressors who steal their land in portions, saying, we are utterly ruined, for my people have been dispossessed. How they have moved my field, the adulterer has divided it. Alternatively, if you meant Micah 2:4 in a tech context, it might refer to a feature or pairing instruction. What the hell is this talking about? Salakia. I don't know what this is talking about. That's a horrible meaning. It says it's a prophetic funeral dirge, warning that God will take the land from those who stole it from the poor, turning their proud boasting into bitter lament over lost inheritances, highlighting divine justice against injustice. So let me read this prophetic lament. The parable and lamentation describe a future funeral song of total desolation, where the oppressors lament, we are ruined, the Lord has given our land to others. Reversal of fortune, the powerful who seized land from the weak will have their own portions taken, demonstrating that God defends the powerless and overturns injustice. So we'll see if you actually gonna get the victory, if your plan is actually gonna work. Divine justice, it's a message that God's covenant justice will be served, punishing the proud and unfaithful who ignored his warnings. Loss of inheritance, the portion refers to Israel's promised land inheritance, which will be divinely reallocated as punishment for breaking the covenant. Mockery and shame, the oppressors, once haughty, will be publicly shamed as their downfall becomes a proverb or mocking song for others to learn from. In essence, Micah 2 and 4 is a stark warning that those who commit injustice will themselves become victims of a greater injustice, experiencing the bitter consequences of their own actions through divine judgment. And that's what's coming in Esau. Okay. Micah 2:5. Therefore thou shalt have none that shall cast a cord by lot in the congregation of the Lord. Let me see what this means. It's a lot. No matter how many times you look it up, it's like it don't stick. It don't stick. It don't stick. As a matter of fact, let me go on the Bible. Micah 2:5. I need this broken down. Let me see, Micah 2:5. Therefore thou shalt have none that shall cast a cord by lot in the congregation of the Lord. What does that mean? Micah 2 verse 5. Meaning. Let's see what that means real quick. Cast a cord by lot refers to measuring land with a cord when property is divided by lot. This language goes back to Joshua's division of the land among the tribes. And the congregation of the Lord refers to the assembly of Israel, not the nations. This is about covenant inheritance, not salvation of the heathen. Full meaning of the verse: because these wicked Israelites stole land and oppressed their brethren, the Lord says, you will have no place in the future inheritance of Israel. No man from among you will stand in the congregation to divide land. You will be cut off from the restored inheritance when the land is reassigned. This is a loss of rulership and inheritance, not merely loss of property. So you pretty much going to lose whatever you thought you had, Esau. Even though this is actually, this whole verse is talking about Israel, but in their wicked state. So this applies to, you could apply these scriptures to what Esau is doing now. He think he had something, but in all actuality, it's divine judgment that he's paying for things that he's committed in his in past times. This is it. Okay, we're in the end. He's about to reap what he sowed. Okay, Micah 2:6. Prophesy ye not, say they to them that prophesy they shall not prophesy to them that they shall not take shame. So prophesy ye not, say they to them that prophesy, they shall not prophesy to them that they shall not take shame. So he don't even want you to know. He don't want you to repent. That's what it means. The verse shows the wicked Israelites trying to silence the true prophets because they don't want to hear correction or judgment. Prophesy ye not, say to them that prophesy. The people in power are commanding the prophets to stop speaking. This proves the prophets were speaking truth, not lies. And we're going to start to see that when the famine of the word comes. You know, because this is what's really exposing this devil. Okay, they shall not prophesy to them. They want prophecy directed away from them toward others. This is selective hearing. Don't rebuke us, rebuke someone else. And that's why Esau got these different camps out here changing their doctrine up. And Apostle Tahar just did he said he's going to name this year as the the year of apostasy and things like that. And he would know because he's on your ass, you different camps. He's on your ass, man. And he's bringing the sword out and he's slaying you through the spirit because your doctrine is not a clear doctrine, man. It's not a pure doctrine, I should say, and especially with people like Captain Tazariak. You know, he's all this time you've been in the truth. And you can't even get, you don't get it. You got all this wisdom and then you're failing to understand the times that we're living in. You don't see at all the MOTB. You don't, that's hard for you to like grasp. you don't even understand the flower of your age. Like, you think the way people are being raised today is the ancient way? It's not. The hell out of here, man. You ain't seeking the old paths. You're content with being under Esau. You don't, you know, I hate to talk shit about other. I don't mean to talk shit, but it's just exposing the hypocrisy of it all, because you're the camp that was telling people to take the jab shot. I wouldn't want to listen to you. I don't listen to you. If the elders weren't doing videos on you, I wouldn't even care, you know. But watching it, it just shows you how, you know, you can kind of see the future when you see these things happening in real time, because you could tell that they're not going to be prepared. They're going to be making the wrong decision, or they're going to prepare other people to make the wrong decision. Just like that conversation he had with some Mexican brother. He was asking legitimate questions, and he just straight led him astray. Okay? Led him astray. And he tried to pull a fast one on them and try to make the elders look like there's something that they're not. You know? And then he's trying to, people who follow them, hey, if they're bringing it out the scriptures, where's your video on that? About the flower of the age and stuff like that. You ain't talking about that. But that's how you know they're good shepherds, because now we can eat off that. Okay, the scripture says this. Okay, this is what it is. That's what the Bible says. This is how people used to live. People used to get stoned to death too. Is that, how do you feel about the stoning to death? Okay, if that's how the Lord wants it done, that's what He wrote in the book. Ultimately, you just offended. There's more. That's the bitter and the sweet. But I bet you, if things like that were in place, you'd be scared to do half the shit that people do today. You got rampant adultery being played out. People would you get stoned to death for adultery. Okay, playing a whore, getting burnt. Come on, man. So there's a lot in the Bible it's unsettling. But you got to take your feelings out of it to get the wisdom out of it. The Lord's not gonna do that for no reason. When these laws were in place, you know, people are gonna that's how you execute judgment. If you're the Most High and you created a creature to operate a certain way, and then He shows you the opposite of what not operating in that way looks like, and then this is a classroom. You can see in real time today how, when the law is not being implemented, how that affects generations of families. Okay, you're seeing wickedness at the highest level. When sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the hearts of men are fully setting them to do evil. You see that every single day. And you still can't take the law and apply it in this time. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign, man. And I'm not the most wise. I still search the scriptures to, you know, get as much information as I can get on certain things, instead of just reading it without understanding. And the Lord provided us with men that teach it, and He gave us tools that we can use to help push further the ministry by looking words up, looking up definitions of words. You breaking down the MOTB, and you're not even going into the word charagma or charax or or stigma. You're not even going into that, which is that's a detriment, especially something is and then through the Spirit you said that anyways, people probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but there's people out there who have doctrines that are, a lot of Israel's waking up to who they are, and then they run into someone like him, and he's leading them pretty much into the pit. They shall not prophesy to them. They want to prophesy directed away from them toward others. This is selective hearing. Don't rebuke us, rebuke someone else. And that's how Israel was then. And that's how Esau is today too. He don't want to hear this word. He don't want you to rebuke him because it exposes him. So he's willing to pay a fee, small fee, so you can, because he understands a gift destroys the heart. So he's trying to destroy your heart. Amos 5:10, they hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. So ultimately, that's Esau, man. That's just people in general. They hate being rebuked. But the rebuke is going to go as long as the Lord wants it to. That they shall not take shame. Shame equals rebuke. They don't want to take any rebuke, exposure, correction. They don't want their sins exposed publicly. And that's what this word does. It exposes Esau publicly. The Lord told us to go out on the highways and hedges and do it too. And it might seem small and insignificant, but it's mighty through the spirit of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. It's doing a great work. If I didn't run into, if it wasn't for the men going out on the highways and hedges, I would have never heard the word. Hey, so the water for Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. That's the format that the Lord chose to wake up his elect. They don't need to be on podcasts and all over the internet going on different platforms to push the word. All you got to do is what he said in Matthew the 22nd chapter. And it's not up to you anyways. It's the Lord that giveth the increase. Okay. Deeper meaning, the wicked reject righteous correction. They believe if the prophets stop speaking, judgment will stop coming. This shows pride and spiritual blindness before destruction. And it tells you that pride cometh before destruction. Okay. We know this. And that's why the duck was elected, because he's a proud ass Edomite who is perfect to fulfill the Lord's will. And the Lord created him to be that way. Arrogant. Okay. Is this what I'm looking for? No. I forgot where it's at. Let me find this out. It says pride before destruction. Where is that? Proverbs 16 and 18. Proverbs 16 and 18. Let's just go there. And that's what you're seeing. So he set up a proud ass Edomite just to do exactly what he's doing. It's the perfect Edomite for the job. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So he's proud, he's haughty, and his place is about to fall. Micah 2:7. O thou that art named the house of Jacob, is the spirit of the Lord straitened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? Here the Lord rebukes Israel directly, especially those who claim to be the house of Jacob but do not walk uprightly. Phrase breakdown, O thou that art named the house of Jacob. They carry the name Israel but don't live according to it. This is identity without obedience. Gone. We can see that playing out too. You know, Israelites who know they're Israel, and that don't mean anything to them. They're not being obedient. They're teaching false doctrines. They're going backwards. Is the spirit of the Lord straitened? Straitened means restricted, limited. Israel is blaming God for being harsh. The Lord responds, am I the problem or is it you? And it's the nation of Israel. Are these his doings? Israel accuses God of wrongdoing. The Lord denies it. Judgment is just. Right? If you understood the law, but you got to meditate on these scriptures. It says in Deuteronomy 32:4, God's work is perfect, and I believe that. Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? Right. If you understood and meditated on the law, everyone claims to love the Lord and all that. So you even condemn yourself with your own words. If you love him, he tells you keep my commandments. He's telling you to do that. And Esau does the opposite. So what do you think's going to happen to him? It's going to be great judgment. Do not my words, it was bottom line, Micah 2:7. You claim to be Israel, yet reject correction. God's spirit is not limited. His words only feel harsh because you refuse to walk uprightly. And that's exactly what it is. You're not walking uprightly. That's why this word's cutting you. Grab this in the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, verse 12. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So you receive the word. You like the sweet parts about it, but the bitterness, you're spitting it up. And not only are you're doing that, the reason why you're not keeping his word down is because you're wicked. Okay, you're wicked, and this word's not resonating with you, and the Lord's gonna take away what little wisdom you have. He's gonna take that away. What little reputation you think you have, he's taking that away. And then he's gonna that's gonna go to where it belongs, just like he did with the house of Saul. Okay, that spirit is gonna leave the house of Saul. It's gonna go to the house of David. Grab this. It says, even of late my people is risen up as an enemy. Ye pull off the robe with the garment from them that pass by securely as men averse from war. This verse exposes how far Israel has fallen. They are now treating their own people like enemies, not brethren. And all of the talk that Doug's doing, a lot of the policies that he's going to be bringing forth, it ain't going to benefit the people. It's only going to benefit him, and that's going to destroy the rest of the people. It tells you in the book of Ecclesiastes. Is it Ecclesiastes? Let me go there real quick. Ecclesiastes it's Ecclesiasticus, Salakia. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and 1. A wise judge will instruct his people. He's not wise. He's not operating under the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. A judge would operate according to the law that was given to them. He's not a wise judge. He's not operating under the law, statutes, and commandments. And the government of a prudent man is well ordered. He's not prudent. He don't foresee that his actions are going to destroy him. He sees prosperity from being wicked. As the judge of the people is himself, so as the judge of the people is himself. Judge also goes into these rulers. So they're the ones making the decisions. They're the ones implementing the law. So if he's wicked, then this is saying that the people are just like him. So are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And that's why Babylon is as wicked as it is. It tells you in the book of Jeremiah, the 5th chapter, that it says, woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil. Jeremiah 5, Salakia. Jeremiah 5. I can't remember where it's at. Let me look it up. But that's the type of that's America in a nutshell. Woe unto them that call evil good. Jeremiah. Oh, it's Isaiah. Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. And that's what y'all are doing. You're putting bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. A righteous society to you sounds wicked. You pull off the robe with the garment, basic clothing, essential for warmth and dignity. The law forbade taking garments from the poor. From them that pass by securely, these are peaceful, unsuspecting Israelites. They are not criminals or enemies. As man averse from war, these people are not fighters, not a threat. Israel is abusing the weak and defenseless, and that's what the same playbook Esau is doing. He coming after people, not men of war, they're not fighters. He's coming after ordinary Israelites, calling them all types of evils and things like that. So it ain't no, he's using the same playbook, and it's the whole verse says, woe to the oppressors. Micah 2:9, the women of my people have ye cast out from their pleasant houses, from their children have ye taken away my glory forever. Let's look at the women of my people. Have ye cast from their pleasant house? Women, widows, or vulnerable women, pleasant houses, lawful family homes. They are being forcibly evicted, not relocated fairly. And there's plenty of cases where you're seeing that. People are being evicted out of their homes unfairly. They're asking for help. He's not helping. He don't care. From their children have ye taken away my glory forever, my glory, inheritance, covenant blessings, land. By removing the home, the children lose stability, tribal inheritance, identity in Israel. He don't care. If they have no home, he's been separating the mother and father. Look at Abrego Garcia. Without even being charged, he's separating the family. And there's probably way more cases than that. Deeper prophetic meaning, evicting families, cutting off future generations. This foreshadows national captivity, loss of heritage, children born into exile. We're seeing that play out in real time. Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. Let's look this up. Of course, it means to not have that mindset of this place. Have the, don't depart physically, but spiritually. You want to refrain from being wicked, because that's what this place teaches you how to be. This verse is the sentence of expulsion. The Lord commands Israel to be removed from the land because they defiled it. Arise ye and depart. This is forced removal, not voluntary travel. It parallels Israel being driven out by Assyria/Babylon. This is a spiritual scripture, and it's telling us to depart spiritually. For this is not your rest. The land was meant to be Israel's resting place, which is Jerusalem. Sin caused them to lose that rest, which is true. So being obedient, if sin caused us not only to lose it, but to get pushed out all the way to the other part of the earth, this is as far as you can go. And this is the end. So the best thing, the remnant, the elect, they're going to be waking up. They're going to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability, because it is polluted. The land is polluted by bloodshed, theft, oppression. The land vomits out its inhabitants, and that's what we're seeing over here. This land is polluted too, because of the bloodshed, the theft, and oppression. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. Sore equals grievous, harsh. And you know what? I was looking at this before, and I couldn't find that. It didn't say grievous. And it does say grievous right here. Okay, to be or make sick. And it's going to really make you, it says a grievous sore. And he's literally going to give you a grievous sore. That's what this land's going to give you. This is not your rest. You're gonna take the MOTB. Revelation 16:1, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So that's how it's really gonna give you a sore destruction. Okay, if you don't come out of this place, that's your destination. if you don't understand your resting place, you don't know that you belong to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. I will surely assemble, O Jacob, all of thee. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will put them together as the sheep of Basra, as the flock in the midst of their fold. They shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men. Let's look this up. Clearly, he's going to save his elect. In fact, let's go to the next verse. If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink, he shall even be the prophet of this people. I don't remember reading that. Micah 2, yeah, Micah 2:11. A man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie. Spirit here means attitude/influence, not the Holy Spirit. These are false prophets driven by deception, and we see that today. Jeremiah 23 verse 16 speaks visions of their own heart. Ezekiel 13:2-3 prophets out of their own spirit. 2 Peter 2:1 false teachers among the people. And we're seeing all of that. I'll prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink. Wine/strong drink, pleasure, prosperity, ease. And that's what you're seeing with these different Israelite camps, speaking hypocrisies, lies, and people are flocking to it. People are believing that these things are true. The heathen can be saved, even though this is the same group that was telling you that that wasn't the case a couple of months ago. Now they're switching it up, and but they'll do anything for views and things like that. But there's this word's going out, and there's people who are they're holding on to something. How can I put it? They probably learning from people like him, and that's making them worse than before. Isaiah 30:10 speak unto us smooth things, and that's what they want to hear. That's how the nation of Israel always was. They want to hear smooth things, man. And that's what the Lord's going to give them. Ultimately, it's the Lord deceiving you. It tells you in Job 12 verse 16 that the deceived and the deceiver are his. Amos 6:1-6 at ease in Zion drinking wine. Jeremiah 6:14 peace, peace when there is no peace. There's no peace. There's an MOTB. There's war. He shall even be the prophet of this people. The people choose prophets who tell them what they want. Shows corrupt leadership plus corrupt followers. All y'all are corrupt. It tells you in Matthew 15, if the blind lead the blind, both of them shall fall into a ditch. 2 Timothy 4:3-4 teaches with itching ears. Yeah, you want to hear some new type of doctrine. You're always being influenced by what's the latest beef and things like that. A lot of people, they want to hear controversy. They want to hear talking points. Okay, they don't want to hear the truth. They look at this as entertainment. Okay, so they don't take the Lord seriously anyways. So they're going to be destroyed. Micah 3:5 prophets who cry peace for hire. And that's what they're doing. They all about filthy lucre. They want to fatten their pockets. They don't really believe this truth, because if they did, they wouldn't understand. You got to take it in order to buy or sell. You got to take the MOTB. Matthew 7:15, wolves in sheep's clothing. That's exactly what they are. And you're a lamb. And the lambs have no fellowship. Let me grab that. I think in the book of Sirach. The lamb has no fellowship with the wolf. What's this? No. Ecclesiasticus. I'll put Sirach. I think it's 14, maybe 13. Let's go there real quick. Sirach 13. I think Sirach 13. In verse 17, what fellowship has the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly. So there's no fellowship with the wolf and the lamb. And what they're doing is they're pretty much wolves in sheep's clothing, leading you to the slaughter. Bottom line, Micah 2:11 means Israel rejects truth and embraces false prophets who who promise pleasure and peace. So God gives them exactly the leaders they desire. So exactly. You're going to get what you want. So it's all righteous. That's what you want. The Lord provided it for you. That's how you want to get put to death. Hey, man, that might be a comforting death that you're looking for, because a lot of y'all don't believe anyways. You don't look at this as a battle. You don't look at this as a challenge. You don't think salvation is needed. The Lord put that spirit on the elect to cherish these things. The word, his prophecies, watching, being diligent, that pertains to the elect. They're gonna be looking at these things, and their faith is gonna get built up. So it tells you in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, that let me grab it real quick, that let not the incredulity trouble thee, because not everyone's gonna believe. 2nd Ezra 15:1, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So we understand you're going to die. So it is what it is. I will surely assemble, O Jacob, all of thee, all tribes. Not every individual refers to national regathering. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. The key word is remnant. Only the elect survive judgment. As the sheep of Basra. Basra equals strong sheepfold in Edom, imagery of protected, tightly gathered sheep. And it also goes into Isaiah 34. Yeah, judgment in Basra. Okay, this is Basra, and he's gathering us here. This also hints at dominion after judgment. They shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men. The remnant becomes numerous and powerful again. Speaks of national strength restored. He can restore us with judgment. Bottom line, after scattering and judgment, God regathers the remnant of Israel, protects them as his flock, and restores them as a strong nation, just like it says in Isaiah 14:1. The Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So that's what's happening. And ain't nothing changed. Micah 2:13, the breaker is come up before them. The breaker is Yahushua. They have broken up and have passed through the gate and are gone out by it. And their king shall pass before them, and the Lord on the head of them. So let's get there. See what this is talking about. The breaker has come up before them. This verse finishes the chapter with deliverance and rulership, showing who leads the remnant out of captivity. The breaker has come up before them. Breaker, one who breaks through obstacles, gates, and oppression. This is a title, not just an action. In GMS understanding, this is Yahushua. They have broken up and have passed through the gate. Captivity is compared to a walled city or prison. The remnant follows the breaker out, and we following Yahushua out of here. Their king shall pass before them. Israel will again have a righteous king, no longer ruled by heathen powers, and that king's David. That's right, and the Lord on the head of them. The king and the Lord are in unity, shows divine authority leading Israel. The Messiah breaks Israel out of captivity, leads the remnant through the gates, and reigns as king with the full authority of the Lord Yahweh. Khan. Just like ancient Egypt, man. We're going to give that beautiful exodus in this time. But I'm going to end it here. Lord's will, this was edifying. Shalom.